Everyone, welcome back to another Godzilla battling video, and today we're talking about MECHAGODZILLA 1974 as a combo unit, not a fake out unit, not a solo unit, as a combo unit, alright? And I think there's some potential here. I think it takes a little bit of finagling, and definitely it takes levels, but it's not terrible, alright? So, first things first, two things. I had a bunch of people reach out to me about this over the weekend, being like, oh, you should try, MECHAGODZILLA with, G21 and G21, or GD9 and GD9. And I was like, okay, I could see where you're coming from. Is it going to be good or not? I don't know. Second, there wasn't a video on Friday. I was playing Legend of Zelda. Sorry, guys, I forgot. Alright, so, first things first with this combo strategy. I'm doing this in fixed mode just because my levels on my Final Wars are not very good. I have him at like level 3 or 4. I really haven't gotten any pieces for him since he was released, honestly. So I took this into fix because I didn't want to like get absolutely butchered. I wanted to at least try to get some gameplay footage of this. So what we're doing here is not comboing MECHAGODZILLA as like a disguise. Like, oh, what is this, a disguise unit or not? I'm putting them together. MECHAGODZILLA and the clone, like, together, okay? Because, I mean, it's a no-brainer, like, oh, if I see two Godzilla 89s on the field, and one of them has a gold name, and one of them doesn't, the one that doesn't have the gold name is obviously MECHAGODZILLA, right? But with some of these 4 stars, like G21 and Final Wars, okay, most people don't have them at 30. Okay, certainly not G21, and there's not many people with Final Wars at 30. There's a few that have them pretty high, but not at 30. So it's easier to kind of hide MECHAGODZILLA in the 4-star group than it is with the gold, with GD9, okay? So that was my big thing with this, was in fixed, it worked out pretty well because everything's level 20, but in ranked, that could be a problem, is if you have anything 30 or above, and so it has the colored names, and then your MECHAGODZILLA does not have the colored name, because that's going to ruin the surprise. Second, I liked to stagger the characters. I would play MECHAGODZILLA first, and then the corresponding unit with him. And this is because MECHAGODZILLA, when he takes his damage up to 80%, he goes into the transform, but he's only going to take up to that 80%. So that acts as a really good tank, like a barrier for your monster. So it gives you like an extra like free hits to protect your characters. Does that make sense? So like instead of like your main monster, like I have the 2 Godzilla 04s on the field right now. The main Godzilla 04 is taking a ton of damage, okay? That's not what I wanted. I originally wanted the Godzilla 04 on the right side to take most of the damage, because he goes into that 80% transformation, and his damage, his health doesn't go below that 80%. So if he were to get hit with, say, the Zeton for the big explosion, there's no Zeton here, but let's just say, and then it's going to transform him, but he's going to decloak at 80%, he's not going to go lower. So that's what I want, like, to get that free hit, to get that free damage mitigation. It's like sending a Jet Jaguar singular point out in front of your characters, right? Because you know it's going to do a set amount of damage, no more, no less. That's why I had him. That's why I like to stagger them. He's also cheaper, so I can save up my full energy bar, drop the 5 cost MECHAGODZILLA in the disguise, and then stagger out the other unit, because the combo Godzilla 04 with this, that's 7 energy. Okay, you need what, like 15 energy total to get both of them on the field? It's really unreliable. Like, this whole strategy is extremely energy consuming, and it's not extremely reliable either. It depends on RNG of like what monster is played like as your MECHAGODZILLA, because your MECHAGODZILLA will like transform. So he could be GD9 the whole match. He could be Final Wars the whole match. He could be G21 and then GD9. And if you're caught in your deck without the monster that corresponds to it, like, you're lacking. Like, that's one of the main reasons why I don't think that this strategy is like super reliable, because what if he just never becomes like my Godzilla 04 the entire match? Okay, what if I wanted to use GD9 as my leader, and then he's gonna become GD9 on the field, and then he's not gonna match my G21, and then your opponent knows like what the deal is. It's good to have these kinds of monsters on the field, right? I especially appreciate the gimmick of MECHAGODZILLA where your opponent kind of gets confused, but if you don't have the unit to combo with him to confuse your opponent, then what's like the point, right? Otherwise, you're just sending him out there. I mean, you could send him out on like alone, but like with this strategy in particular, generally you want to like try to confuse up your enemy. Positive, though, is as you'll see on the screen here, with the Kamen Rider kick, your MECHAGODZILLA, if he can stagger the opponent and get that damage done and transform, he can actually do, like, attack. He actually regains the ability to attack in the Kamen Rider stun after he transforms. So I like that a lot. Out of the three of these combos, which do I think has the most potential? I guess maybe the biggest success rate. I think the most potential out of any of these is the G21s. Having dual G21s is actually kind of busted, because G21 is an incredibly high skill gap character, and getting him just the one to the leader is rough, and it is hard. Getting two is even harder, because both of them kind of aren't doing too much. But if they can touch the enemy leader, they're going to rip them apart. Anything that the G21s touch is just immediately going to die, which is great. The problem is having to get them there. So that's very high skill gap, but I see a lot of potential with that. The G89s, I think, is definitely strong. I was using it with the Gigan Rush. I saw a lot of success from it. I don't think it's going to be super reliable in the arena, because your G89 is going to have to get fairly close to attack, and your MECHAGODZILLA disguised, he might get one shot in before transforming, and then the whole thing is kaput. I think the G89 is probably the second best of the bunch. I think the Final Wars combo is so good. The Final Wars on his own, after his buff, is actually like a pretty decent unit. Now, he's still, I don't think, worth it for the energy, but his stats are really solid. So having two of them is great, especially one of them for 5 cost. That is huge. Having the ability at close range to push characters away also helps your MECHAGODZILLA stay in disguise. Okay, it's gonna take your opponent a lot longer to decipher which one of these monsters is the faker when you keeping them away with the knockback. That's big. And then, as you can see on the right side of the screen here, coming up in a second, I have the two 04s right there. Look at that. So the two of them are going. I hit the Gigan Rush. They have yet to go out of their disguise. The Gigan is targeting the main one. So now my opponent knows which one is the fake. It's the one coming up. So he gets a hit off. The other one's going to get hit, but look, he transforms and he stays out of the leader range. So I think the strongest duo out of the 3 combinations that we have at the moment for MECHAGODZILLA, because we don't know how many other Godzillas he's going to be able to become, I think the best one is the Godzilla 04 combo. I think G89 has potential, maybe with a Gigan Rush, maybe with a Kamen Rider. Big downside, obviously, like I said, for MECHAGODZILLA is that he gets really close and has to, like, to attack, he gets really close, so he might drop his disguise quicker, and they can't hit air, and at least until MECHAGODZILLA transforms. So that's a pretty big detriment, considering Batra is back in the meta after Kumo Augment nerf. The G21, I think, is probably the most fun of the group, the most unreliable as well, because, I mean, listen, anyone that's used G21 could tell you what the deal is with G21. But I will say, having two of them run up on you, especially Gigan Rushed or sped up or something, is so scary. It is so scary. And you got to deal with that shit immediately. You can see in the middle, Abyss hit that Kamen Rider ability because he's like, oh shit, if I do not stop these guys in a second, they're just going to absolutely run through me. I had several matches where I got both of the G21s to the enemy leaders and they just quit immediately. Like, I didn't even get any damage off. They locked on, they hit the target once, and then the person just quit. Because there's not a lot that you could do to stop. It's already difficult stopping one G21 once it's on your leader if you're not prepared. Try 2. That is intense. So do I think that this combination could be meta in some capacity? I mean, I personally don't really think so. I think that there's a lot of really good combo potential here. I just think it's too expensive. It's too expensive to do MECHAGODZILLA with another one of these Godzillas, because MECHAGODZILLA is the only one of them that costs 5. Everything else is 6 or 7. Okay? So 5 and 7 is what? 5 and 7 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What did I say earlier? It was 15 energy? I'm stupid. It's 12 energy for the 2. But for 10, I could do 10th Angel and Burning Godzilla. For 10, I could do Batra and Mother Leo. So there are certainly better combinations to be using in the game. This is an incredibly strong one. It's also incredibly unreliable due to the RNG nature of Mechagodzilla's ability. I like this idea. I think if we take a little bit longer to really workshop with it, we could come up with something great. Maybe throw energy base in here to have it a little bit more reliable. It's just pretty expensive, and if you're taking it into ranked, this is the season to do it. Obviously, because you have your Mechagodzilla at the rented level. When Mechagodzilla transforms, he's not transforming into your characters at the level that you have them on. He's transforming into the level equivalent of your Mechagodzilla. So next season, if your Mechagodzilla is level 2, the G89 he's turning into is level 2. This is the season to try to take advantage of this while he's rentable with that like extended rent cap. I'm personally not going to take it into ranked. I did this all in fixed. I don't remember if I said that earlier or not, but I did all 3 of these battles in fixed because my levels on my Godzilla 04 like kind of dog shit, but it is what it is. I like the combo. I don't think it's particularly meta. I think if you have a really high level Mechagodzilla going forward, this could be busted. I mean, this is obviously like this probably could be a no-brainer for whales who really don't need to worry about their levels, but for your average player, you might not have the appropriate levels to knock out a combo like this. Maybe the G89 combo, but with G21, that's going to be difficult to pull off because not a lot of people have a ton of shards for him. And then for Final Wars, not a lot of people have invested in Final Wars because he hasn't really been the best in the last few months, but now that he's gotten the upgrade, there's been a lot more play with him and a lot more people are investing. So do with this information what you will. I just kind of wanted to bring it up and give my thoughts on it. At least I had a few people bring it up to me this weekend, so I figured it was worth a go in making a video on it. Let me know what you guys think down below about these 2 combos, or if you've paired Mechagodzilla with any of these 3 bozos. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. That's all I got for you. Bye-bye.